Hey, True Believers England teen here with Dalton, the Authenticator.
Hello, everybody.
Alrighty, so you sent me this article. It's from CBR, I believe. Yep, and it was Doctor Strange, 5 costumes that are basically cool and 5 that are lame, blah, 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 yada, yada. And I thought, okay, you know what? Just for poops and giggles, let's go over these. Let's see if we agree or not. Well, you know, because you and I, we may have some differences here. I know you are a huge Doctor Strange fan.
Yes, I am probably the token Doctor Strange fan for the entire alternate side of YouTube that we find ourselves on.
Okay, and I just call you the token anyway, so it all fits. No, but it's an interesting thing, and I thought this might be fun, and if it gets any traction. And guys, if you like this video, and yes, we are shooting it like a video, even though it's kind of got the same look as a live stream. If you like this kind of video, tell us, and we'll go over more stuff like this and more different characters and see which ones because I do know I do cosplays, costumes and cosplays, where I like to go through every costume that a character ever wore. But I'll tell you something. Men don't sell. That's just the flat out. I do an Incredible Hulk and I'll be like, 25, maybe 30 views on this channel. Maybe 100 or so on I Love Comics. But if I do Starfire, that explodes. Power Girl, kaboom, you know.
Gynocentrism for the win, I guess.
There you go. The only one that ever broke that mold was Iron Man, doing all of the talk about all of the Iron Man armors. Anyway, let me share the screen here, and we're going to get to this article. I think it's fun, but once again, let us know in the comments if you enjoy this. Also, don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, ring the notification bell. Do everything to promote the channel, basically. That would help out and would definitely appreciate it. Trying to reach 1,000 by the end of the month. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Anyway, Doctor Strange, 5 costumes that made him look cool and 5 that were just lame. Okay, so at first I thought it might seem that Doctor Strange has been pretty consistent with his costume. Yeah, that's one thing I do have to admit. When I think of Doctor Strange, what he looks like right here is basically all I see him as. I barely even remember any of the other costumes.
They don't really update or change his costume around very much. And given some of the entries on this list, I think it's obvious to see why. But yeah, I think what it is there's only so many ways you can do superhero sorcerer, and he's right in that mold. And if you change him around too much, he might start looking too much like a John Constantine or a Dr. Fate or any of the other already existent, magical characters or occult-based characters. So,
well, my whole look on it is if you get it right the first time.
Yeah.
All right, so the classic costume may be iconic. It even influenced Doctor Strange's design in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, the Sorcerer Supreme has changed it up over the years, and some have been good, some have been bad. And they say number 10, lame. The last run is Sorcerer Supreme. This is Mark Waid's 2018 series, Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme. Featured a new costume that was heavily monochromatic underneath the cloak of levitation. Being skin tight with some armor-like attachments, it looks more like a superhero costume than the clothes of a magic user. You tell me what you think, and then I'll tell you what I think, and then we'll say whether or not we agree it's lame.
Okay, yeah, my thoughts on this is it looks way too much like Asgardian armor, or even to a certain extent like a technological hero or villain like Mysterio or even Iron Man to a certain extent. And like they were saying here, it looks more superheroic than it does sorcerer. And the thing that I want to drive home as a Doctor Strange fan is he is always to infinity a sorcerer first, a superhero second. His sorcery skills are what allow him to be on par with a superhero, even though he has no powers. What he has are skills and techniques that make him more powerful than your average human.
Okay, now I look at this and I think everything's pointing to his penis. Seriously, look, it looks like Iron Man's face is on his chest and Iron Man's tongue is rolling down towards his crotch. And then right here, you've got these two, what looks like it should be a belt, and it's just aiming right at his crotch. Everything, you got this right here. Everything is aiming to his penis. The entire thing, all about it.
And just like that, we spawned 1,000 slash fic mangas between Iron Man and Doctor Strange.
Well, there you go. Yes, I know. I know. Hey, look, Mark Waid was trying to ship Iron Man to Doctor Strange because he's got his face licking Doctor Strange's penis here. Also, it looks like a holster. I know it's supposed to be a pouch, but it looks like a holster. So it looks like some sort of armor that's pointing to his penis, and he's carrying a gun. I'm not a big fan of this. It looks like, you know what? It looks like the alien symbiote just got it wrong this time. In all honesty, horrible. I do think this is a lame costume.
Lame.
The cloak is good.
Well, the cloak is always good because the cloak is to Doctor Strange what the Helm of Fate is to Dr. Fate. So
I think so. Okay, let's move on. Cool turtleneck and trench coat. So this costume choice rides a fine line. It doesn't register as a costume. However, it is quite classic and stylish. It harkens back to a period when occult superheroes split their time between the real world and the occult. Think of him as the equivalent of DC's Dr. Occult, or even perhaps John Constantine. I'm going to go first on this and say no. I don't want to think of him as John Constantine. John Constantine is a different breed of I guess I would say, sorcerer. He's a different breed of occultist. Doctor Strange is a wizard. He is a magic user. And no, I don't like this. This is if this guy right here that we're looking at isn't hitting on co-eds, I think he's doing it wrong. I don't see him as the Sorcerer Supreme on this one. How about you?
I couldn't agree more, honestly. This is the problem. Trying to turn Doctor Strange into every other magic user character. He's not every other magic user character. He's not John Constantine. He's not Harry Dresden. Those characters are street level magic users. They're meant to be they're detectives first and sorcerers second, or sorcerers who are also detectives. Doctor Strange is not that. If he's anything other than a sorcerer, it's a monk. He was trained by a sorcerer who was a monk. Therefore, if his aesthetic needs to take from anything other than classic sorcerer, it should be, martial arts, Buddhist cloaks of like Tibetan Buddhist monks and so on and so forth. And more to the point, that's exactly what Steve Ditko did take inspiration from. The red and yellow color scheme of the Cloak of Levitation is a direct homage to.
We're going to get to that later.
Monks.
So so both of us are saying this one's lame. Lame. Okay, so basically 10 and 9 for both of us are lame. So too bad, one no good yet. Let's see. It doesn't hurt that the stylishness of this ensemble is a classic tan and black. Yeah, no.
It does in fact hurt him though, because he's unlike a John Constantine. He's not a dashing rogue. He's not the trickster archetype. He's not the walker of the crossroads or so on and so forth. Right. He is the type that has the big cathedral or castle style sanctum sanctorum, and he has the
let's get to number 8. Let's get to number 8 so I don't have to edit too much of this down. All right, so Lane, the younger, hipper dot. Holy crap! You know what? No. Just this isn't a freaking. This is freaking Doctor Strange in a wetsuit and a bathrobe. What the hell is that? The 1999s were a tumultuous time at Marvel. They had spent a lot of money, and the crash of the speculator bubble had hit them hard. Eventually, they would file for bankruptcy. We all know that. Many characters were drastically altered to attract younger readerships. Just no. No.
And right here, ladies and gentlemen, we find the Doctor Strange equivalent of the Jared Stevens' Dr. Fate.
This is god awful. This is like the Big Lebowski became Sorcerer Supreme.
In the immortal words of Lex Luthor from Superman Returns, wrong.
In the immortal words of Lex Luthor in the Superman movie, Otis, next time wait for me to get out of the pool before you put on my robe. No. Three horrible no goods yet. Number 7, cool, fancy vest. Okay, I could dig on this. I mean, at least he's looking regal. He looks more like a vampire here, though. Given how bad costume designs in the 90s generally viewed, it should be no surprise that there are some gems in there. Evolving out of the younger, hipper Doctor Strange, this costume saw the jacket kept, but with a untucked shirt and fancy gold vest, complete with the Eye of Agamotto. I think the eye helps. This is better, I think, than but instead of looking like a vest, it just looks like a white jumpsuit with gold painted on it. What do you think?
I like it in the sense that it's an attempt to pass off his sorcerer regalia as like quote unquote normal clothes in like a posh upper crust kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see this being sort of Strange's loungewear. Like, I don't have to go anywhere today. I don't have to fight any extra dimensional demons. I'm just gonna sit in my library and I'm gonna categorize my tomes and my grimoires or something. Well, like this, I get the feeling is like Strange's house coat almost.
Well, this is his bathrobe. This is his house coat. I can get that. Successfully captures the aesthetics of the 90s while honoring the past of the character. It's definitely a look that can be sustained. So are we going to give this one thumbs up? It's not a big, I'm not raising it. I'm just kind of, it's in the right direction. So I could say this one's okay.
I approve, but it could be better.
Okay.
I approve, but it could be better.
Let's get to number 6 here. And we've got Lame, the mask costume. Okay, Dalton, let me read this off and then I'll let you go. In the latter half of the Silver Age, Doctor Strange took a departure from his traditional costume. He eschewed the robes and tunic for spandex. It shares many similarities to the classic Doctor Strange costume, primarily blue color scheme. Unfortunately, it came complete with a mask. I'm going to say this and then I'll let you go on it because I have a feeling we're going to be in opposite ends. I kind of dig this look. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if I dig this look as Doctor Strange, but I dig this look as a costume in itself. So I'm going to give this one a thumbs up. For me, there's 2 good ones. What do you think?
Okay, here is the problem with this look and the sort of unintentional good thing about it. This look came out of the exact mentality that I currently hate Marvel for doing to Doctor Strange, which is, and this is probably the first time in the character's history that they decided they wanted to homogenize Doctor Strange and make him more like a superhero than a sorcerer. And the problem, of course, with that being, and I mentioned this earlier, he is a sorcerer first, a superhero second. His sorcery allows him to be equal to the superheroes. He's not a vigilante. He's not spandex clad. The good thing about this was that it was so poorly received that it was gone in like all of 5 or 10 issues. And I wish Marvel in the current day and age was that responsive to fan criticism, because this, like Englentine said, this is a perfectly serviceable superhero costume. But it belongs on another character who has nothing to do with
actually a
Doctor
superhero. Yeah.
Okay. Like, honestly, even a more mystically inclined superhero I could see. Like if this were a Spawn look, it wouldn't be out of place with how Spawn usually looks. But Doctor Strange is a sorcerer first and anything else second.
Okay, let's move on. Let's see. The superhero look was an ill fit for Doctor Strange, despite it lasting as long as it did. Doctor Strange's facial features are quite distinctive, and the lighter blue gloves didn't highlight his hand gestures in the same way the orange gloves did. Okay, so number 5, cool. Steve Ditko's original. We are not going to speak ill of this. I think it's a great design. It is missing the, or at least this picture is missing the cloak, which I think just brings the whole ensemble together.
Well,
but yeah,
he didn't get the Cloak of Levitation until he actually took the title of Sorcerer Supreme from the Ancient One. So the blue cloak was sort of what he wore in the first 10 years of his continuity when he was still kind of an apprentice. And that's the difference.
Can we also point out the fact that he's Asian?
Or he's drawn very, very Asian in this.
Yeah, that's something that has been forgotten about Doctor Strange over the years, but he's Asian. All right,
he's very Fu Manchu-ish, especially in this particular image. Yeah. There
are not many costumes that Steve Ditko designed that are bad. Doctor Strange's original design stands up as some genius design. At times, it incorporated an amulet and a blue cape, and eventually it morphed into the costume that he's best known for wearing. I think it's cool. I think it holds up. And I think it's the base for what we know him to look like.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Ditko based this on Vincent Price, and I defy anyone to tell me that Golden Age Vincent Price didn't always look awesome.
There you go. All right. Number 4, Lame Mutant X. The freaking hell? That looks like the alien version of something. In Parallel Earth of Mutant X, there are several altered versions of Marvel heroes. When Doctor Strange surfaces in the final issue, his costume incorporated a hood that helps close up an altered cloak of levitation. The hood hides the fact that the Doctor has taken the curse of the Man-Thing, which, while giving him the same head as the hulking monster, doesn't alter his body. Yeah, I'm gonna say this is bad. Look, the gold into the gold sharp. This is very 1980s. Yeah, I'm not liking this at all.
This is somebody got high while watching John Carpenter's The Thing and thought, I know what we'll do. We'll turn Doctor Strange into that.
Yeah. So where are we standing? We have I think I've got 3 while you got 2. This 2 good ones, I think, or something like that. Anyway, who cares? All right. Number 3, the Defender's costume. This one they say makes him look cool. No, I'm gonna go and here. Let me tell you why. This is exactly the same reason. Look, the color scheme is really good, and I'm gonna say the same thing about this that I said about the blue costume on a superhero, on another character. This is really good. On Doctor Strange, I just don't see it. It's better than the blue costume, I think. When Matt Fraction reformed Defenders in 2011, it was obvious that he would look severely out of place in a trench coat and turtleneck. The design became more graphic, and while Strange lacked the cloak of levitation, the sash and coattails flowed similarly. What do you think?
The thing is, it makes him look too much like a martial arts character rather than a mystical character. And granted, Doctor Strange, unlike a lot of mystical characters, does borrow most of his mysticism from like the Eastern spirituality block, but it strips him down too much and makes him look too street level. And the other thing is, Doctor Strange is always a cosmic character, while other sorcerers like Harry Dresden or John Constantine deal with magic on a street level basis.
Yep.
Doctor Strange is the guy that can go toe-to-toe with Galactus or Eternity when he needs to, because that's the job of the Sorcerer Supreme, and this essentially tears the wings off the metaphorical butterfly.
Okay.
Is the problem.
Alrighty. And number 2, Lame Midnight Suns era. Oh my gosh, it's the designer from Batman. Is that a big W on his chest? What's the W for? In defense, this is meant to be a much darker hero. The presiding trend among Marvel's horror-themed titles was to go dark and violent. After all, Ghost Rider had been a runaway success in the boom of the early 90s, and one of the responses was masked anti-hero that simply called himself Strange. While this was a creation of Doctor Strange and not the Doctor himself, it doesn't fail that he operated in the stead of Doctor Strange and served his purpose. The design is an assemblage of everything dark, brooding, and violent of the 90s and resembles Spawn more than Doctor Strange. That's a good way to put it. Mine would say it sucks. And is that a W on his chest?
I mean, he always...
Wait, is that a... Look at the shape of this and the way it indentures right here. I would say it's almost not a W. This is a really bad costume.
Yeah, it's the bad side of 90s edge. I mean, there were good Doctor Strange comics in that era, especially the Strange Tales Volume 2 that he shared with Cloak and Dagger, but yeah, this costume just no. It belongs in the 90s and it should have stayed in the 90s. Goodbye.
Okay, and the number one, and I'm considering it's been going lame cool. Number one has to be classic, right? Yep. There we go. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to say a bad thing about this. In all honesty, I've always enjoyed it. I think it's one of the best costumes out there, to tell you the truth. So, absolutely, I agree with their number one choice. If you want to talk about it, go on ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, what can you honestly say about the classic Doctor Strange costume that hasn't been said until the cows come home? There's a reason why this list is as short as it is, because Doctor Strange doesn't deviate from his standard costume very often, because the art style might change, the way it's depicted might change, but it's always the robes of a monk, the robes of a sorcerer, and the amulet that is the Eye of Agamotto. Because it registers both mystical and regal and upper class all at the same time. So don't mess with the good thing. That said, if I had to pick one aspect of the classic costume that the movies haven't gotten to yet, they alluded to it in Thor Ragnarok with his yellow orange gloves there. Yeah. I want him to wear those all the time. Those gloves are awesome.
I was going to bring up the gloves also in the MCU, but at least we do have at least once that he wore them. Hopefully he'll wear them again. Even if they give it some sort of, okay, these are the gloves of, whatever. That would be kind of cool. So anyway, there you go. That's the comic book costume countdown there, I guess. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. What was your favorite? Did we call one lame that you thought was cool? Did we say one was cool that you thought was lame? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell, making sure that notifications are set on all so you don't miss anything. Cool things happen around here. And if you do like the channel, go on over to Patreon or to Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the till, and helps keep the lights on, helps keep making videos for you. Thank everybody who's already done that. To everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.